I'm going to share some facts about the GMAT. I also want to share some good resources that you can use to help you prepare for taking the test. I also want to share a generic study plan that you can use. And lastly, talk about test day. So first, the facts. The GMAT tests your math skills, your verbal skills, and your analytical writing skills. It tests your verbal skills through 41 multiple choice questions covering reading comprehension, critical reasoning, and sentence correction. It measures your math skills through 37 multiple choice questions covering data sufficiency and problem solving. It tests your analytical writing skills through 2 essays covering analysis of an issue and analysis of an argument. A perfect score is 800. Analytical writing skills are not super important. It's important to note that the GMAT does not measure specific knowledge of business. It doesn't measure your job skills, or it's not even measuring specific content from your undergraduate studies. It's a computer adaptive test. You must answer a question before going on. When you get a question correct, the next question is more difficult. If you get a question incorrect, the next question is easier. This can really be difficult to adapt to, so it's important to focus. It's also important to note that the background that you have in terms of your work experience matters for the GMAT score that you need. If you're a consultant, iBank, or private equity, you're going to need to get a higher score than someone coming from the nonprofit or military sector. That's because there's more people coming from these industries and applying for business school, so it's more competitive. Many times you can back into the score that you need by looking at how strong the other parts of your application are. If you have great experience, if you have great letters of recommendation, you may be able to get by with a lower GMAT score. GMAT resources. First, it's important to schedule a date as soon as possible. You can go to MBA.com and register for $250. Give yourself a max of 10 weeks to study. If you can afford it, take a course to prepare. It's these people's jobs to help you dominate this test. There are recurring themes and types of questions that they can help you recognize. Also, choose resources and figure out a game plan. For the books, you can use GMAT and Kaplan. GMAT is from the makers of the GMAT, so the questions are very realistic. Kaplan gives good tips and tricks on how to take the actual tests. Get a good study plan together. A good sample study plan is something like this. Spend 4 weeks reviewing the study books cover to cover. You should take notes, do all the problems in the book, and review sections of the problems that you get wrong. The next 4 weeks should be spent doing practice questions found on the CDs that come with your books or on MBA.com. Spend the last 2 weeks doing practice tests. There's 2 free practice tests on MBA.com. These are computer adaptive in the exact format of the real tests. Some books come with full-length tests. You can also purchase full-length tests online for a reasonable price. Test day. Make sure you travel to testing center beforehand or leave with plenty of time to spare. It's important to be in the right state of mind when you take the test. Also, bring appropriate clothing, dress in layers. It may be hot, it may be cold. You'll be given a booklet of 5 note boards at the start of the test. Mine look like mini whiteboards. This is what you'll use to write your work. You'll start the test by doing the analytical writing, and then you can take an optional break. And then it's the math section. You can take another optional break, and then lastly it's the verbal section. I recommend that you take your optional breaks and actually bring food to snack on during your breaks. This wraps up the tips and tricks for applying to business school. I hope you found it helpful. If you have additional questions, feel free to email me at ben@manningconsulting.us.